20 years ago, we had a amazing cat called Dennis. He was the runt of the litter that the ward clerk on the intensive care unit I worked on at the time was left from the litter that her cat had had. That made no sense, but hey, go with me. And Dennis, he was a big black cat. It was the runt of the litter, because I never, ever, ever choose an animal. I always say, we'll just have the runt of the litter. Anyway, at 18 months old, Dennis got knocked down and killed. And he really was an amazing character. And the weekend Dennis passed away. I'm sorry if I get upset beforehand. I might get upset at any point in this video. I'm talking about grief, bereavement and loss. So I might well get upset because I'm a human being. I'm Jackie from Chattervation, by the way. So it was over 20 years ago. My sister passed away. So we'd gone across country to my sister's wedding. To my sister's funeral. See how thinking about things that upsets us gets us to say the wrong thing. A normal human being would delete that, but no, it's real life. So my sister, who I absolutely adored, she died, and we'd gone across country to her funeral. From attending my sister's funeral, we then went to visit my husband's mum, who was now in hospital, having had a stroke. We were based down in the south of England. Martin, Chaz, whatever you want to call him, my husband, he was in the military. So we were down south, and we visited his mum in hospital, having had a stroke, straight from my sister's funeral. So we took a few days away from home, and neighbours looked after Dennis for us, which was fine, cat flap, and everybody adored Dennis. He was a real character. We got back on the Sunday night, and Dennis was there chatting away to us, just as cats do. And the next morning, he wasn't around, and it was like, oh. But the cat flap was always open, he had freedom. That lunchtime, Dennis, we got a phone call to say, is that Mr. Dennis? You know, because that's what his tag said. And we said, no, but Dennis is our cat. And these kind gentlemen had found Dennis on the side of the road and picked him up. We didn't know what to do. And anyway, so we lost Dennis, and we were absolutely heartbroken. And Martin said to me, that's it, we're not having any other pets. I can't take this loss. Now remember, it was a particularly difficult time for us then anyway. My sister, who I was really, really close to, had passed away, and Martin's mum was really, really ill, having had a stroke, and we were miles away from anybody in our families. Anyway, so I'm at work. I remember Martin said that we are never having another pet because it hurts too much when we lose things. So the ward clerk's cat had another litter, and she was pestering me to have another cat, and I kept saying to her, no, we can't have another cat. Martin has said, no more cats, no more cats, no more cats. We're not allowed to have another cat. So I asked him, and eventually he caved, and we agreed to have a cat. So I went into to intensive care where I worked, and I said, okay, we'll have the runt of the litter, which was okay. She said, no, come and pick. I said, no, we always want the runt of the litter. We'll have the runt of the litter. Anyway, a few days later, I got home from work. I've told this story before, I think, but it's bigger today. I got home from work, and Martin was like quite I don't really think he was vexed with me, but to this day he still pretends he was. And he said, there's a message for you on the answer phone. The cats are ready for a collection. I said, what do you mean the cats? And he said, well, that's what it said. The cats, apparently you've agreed to have a couple of cats. And it was like, I got to work, and there were 2 runts left in this litter. A ginger, well, he wasn't actually, at that point, he looked like a piece of custard. He was cream, absolutely adorable. We called him Chewy. And Lady, she was a black cat, probably quite similar to Dennis, well, very similar to Dennis, but she never really became very big. She was always quite petite. So we had these amazing cats. When pet passports, Chewy and Lady, when pet passports came in, my mum contacted me to tell me that pet passports were in and you can get some overseas postings. So we got overseas postings then. So the cats travelled everywhere with us. I mean, everywhere. So they lived in Germany and then Italy, and then we moved back to Winchester. Then once Martin retired from the forces, we emigrated to America and the cats came with us. They flew out. We did 5.5 years in the States. And just before we left the States, Lady became deaf. We know she became deaf because she stopped hearing when I opened the cat food cupboard. She could always hear that. So really cherished. So we got back and we're living in the south of England, and back in 2014, Martin he had cancer, and he had surgery, quite urgent surgery for that, and chemotherapy. And while he was on his course of chemotherapy, Chewy, who was almost 18, from the same litter, almost 18 by then, he just became increasingly tired and frail, and because Martin was on chemotherapy, he couldn't come to the vets with me. So I took Chewy to the vets, and the vet said, she gave him some medication and injection, and she said, see how he is over the weekend. And I said, if we can't keep Chewy alive, then we really need to be together as a family, me, Martin and Lady. Sorry if I get upset. Because we're a family. Martin can't come here. Could you come to the house? So we paid extra money. Chewy wasn't good over the weekend, and we phoned the vet after the weekend, and they arranged and they came to put Chewy to sleep. We brought Lady down so that she could be around because he was a brother, but she was totally disinterested. Anyway, so over time, it was really hard. It was really, really hard losing Chewy. He was almost 18 and he'd been everywhere with us. And he used to lie on my head in bed. He was just a character. Got knocked down when he was about 18 months old. So we used to call him Chewy Danglefoot because he had surgery, and he obviously had a little bit of arthritis in that leg. But we missed him so very, very much. And I'd always associated, and this is going to sound ridiculous, cat illness and loss with a loss of another loved one in my life. So I was really, really frightened that this meant that not only was Martin recovering from his cancer, having his chemotherapy, but I also was a little bit convinced that he was going to pass away as well. And it was absolutely ridiculous. But this is what happens to us when we start to worry about things and we associate things. And I'm talking about real life here. So Lady's been cherished and absolutely adored. And when we moved up to Scotland back in 2000, at the end of 2016, because of her deafness, I would take her out on a a harness so that she could get some fresh air and exercise, but didn't want her to go away and get lost and not know where we were because you couldn't shout her. So on the morning of New Year's Day 2019, she had an event going up the stairs, and somehow she managed to get herself up the stairs, onto the bed, onto the blanket between our pillows, which was her spot, and settle there. And then she's just started to get weaker and weaker. And New Year's Day, we knew that if we needed to get care for her, it would have to be us taking her somewhere. And that we couldn't bear that thought. So we basically, the three of us, spent New Year's Day on 2019 on our bed together. We treated her like you would a human being, because she was almost 21. She was almost 22. So we decided that if she was still with us the following day, we'd contact the vets, but we really didn't want to have to take her in the car. So the three of us just spent that time, and we loved her, we cherished her. Anyway, she passed away very early hours of the 2nd of January, and it was such a traumatic loss for us because we've not got kids. But at almost 22, having been everywhere with us, it's a loss. People, I don't know, I felt that people don't understand when it's the loss of a pet, because they say, it's only a cat, it's only a dog, get yourself another one. And that seems to be the answer, isn't it? Like, get yourself another one. They don't say, go and get yourself another kid, or go and get yourself another mum, or another sister. But they do seem to say, get another cat, you're going to get another one, aren't you? Or try a dog. And no, we were hurting. We were sad. We were going through loss, grief, bereavement, and it was hard. So Martin found a mindfulness app for us to use, and we did daily sessions for a month on loss, grief, and bereavement, and it helped. During those sessions, there were probably 10-15 minute sessions every day, I would find that I'd be crying or laughing, or crying and laughing, because it was time to actually respect Lady's memory, a cat that had been with us for over 21 years and lived in so many different places. She'd flown, she'd been on trains, she'd been in cars, obviously. So I'm trying to say, loss is loss. Losing a pet, losing an animal from your life hurts. For those of us who have lost a pet or are going through the grief of losing a pet, give yourself permission to grieve. Don't allow anybody to make you feel like it's insignificant just because it seems insignificant to them at this time, because it's not. It's as significant to you as it is significant to you. Yeah, do you get that? So be kind to yourself and give yourself permission. It's not something and nothing. For those who are having contact with people that have lost a pet, be patient with them, give them time. You don't know how much their heart might be breaking. You don't know what journey they're going through. So just be kind to them. The loss mindfulness sessions that we were doing, I would say are helpful for anybody going through a loss in their lives. It wasn't specifically for animals or pets. It was loss. The app probably would be surprised to realise that we'd done it for a pet or an animal. But it was significant for us, and it gave us permission to grieve. I've gone on for way longer than I wanted to. I'm so sorry. But I didn't cry too much. It's Jackie from Chattervation. I'm looking at well-being, looking at real life. I'm looking at how we're affected by things that happen. This video today has been triggered by somebody I'm in contact with has lost a pet. And I like to base things on stuff that's current for me. And when anybody else has a loss, it reminds me of my losses, because I've lost a lot more than pets. And pets are the thing that I think that people aren't so kind about us losing. So it's Jackie from Chattervation. I'm on YouTube, so please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell people about me, tell your boss about me. I do return to work and wellbeing at work, workshops and videos. I'm looking at real life, how we're affected by things that go on in real life, not so much about the posh stuff, if that makes sense. So thanks for your time, and take care. Bye bye.